I made a heart-shattering decision to spite my husband. I need to put this somewhere outside of my own head, because I've been holding it alone for too long, and it's starting to feel like it's eating me. We were together for 3 years before we got married. He was charming and attentive, the kind of person who remembered everything you told him and brought it back later in ways that made you feel seen. He called when he said he would. He was kind to my friends. He made me feel like the most chosen person in the room. I thought that was love. I know now it was just a very effective system. He cheated on me for 8 months. Not a moment of weakness, not a one-time thing he felt sick about. An actual relationship. A coworker. They went on trips. He bought her things. He told her things about us. I found out because she decided she was done being the secret and texted me from a new number with screenshots, dates, the entire documented history. I was also 7 weeks pregnant when I got that text. I remember sitting in my car in the driveway reading and rereading those messages. I couldn't go inside because he was inside. I couldn't call anyone because I didn't have language for any of it yet. I sat there as it got dark outside and then darker, and then I just kept sitting. When I finally went in, I showed him the messages. He didn't deny it. He didn't beg. He explained. There was always a difference with him between those two things. He talked about his childhood trauma, his attachment issues, the emotional distance he felt in our marriage, needs I apparently hadn't met, things I apparently hadn't provided. He went on for a long time, and then he said, "You're pregnant, so we move forward." That's it. We just move forward. I didn't argue. I packed a bag while he was still talking and drove to my sister's. He called that night, the next morning, multiple times a day for the first week. I let them all go to voicemail and listened later, alone, which was its own specific kind of punishment. The messages shifted over time. First apologetic, then frustrated, then something that felt almost like a warning. When I finally answered, he told me having the baby would fix everything, that becoming a mother would change my perspective, that I'd stop focusing on what he did and start focusing on our future, that I'd understand eventually. I understood something, just not what he meant. I made an appointment. I didn't tell him. I didn't tell my sister. I went alone, which felt right. It was the only thing in that entire stretch that was fully mine, that he hadn't touched or spoken into or made a decision about. I sat in the car a long time afterward, not because I wasn't sure I was sure. I sat there because it was quiet, and I wasn't ready to go back inside yet, to be anywhere with other people. Eventually, I drove home, made tea, watched something I don't remember, and went to sleep. I felt hollow. I also felt like I had done the only thing that made sense. I didn't call him that day or the next. About a month later, I went back to the house to get more of my things. He opened the door with a smile I hadn't seen in a while. The warm version, the one he used when he wanted something. He looked at my stomach, asked if I'd felt the baby move yet, asked about cravings, told me I looked tired and should be taking better care of myself. I told him there was no baby. He laughed first, said that wasn't funny. I didn't say anything else, and he stopped laughing. He didn't believe me for a few minutes. He kept asking me to say I was lying. He went very quiet in a way that felt loud, and then he started screaming. He said I killed his child. He called me cruel and vindictive and said nothing he had ever done came close to what I'd just done to him. He sobbed. He was on the floor at some point, and then he stood up, wiped his face, and told me in a completely normal voice that we were going to make another one, that as his wife, it wasn't solely my decision, that he would make sure of it. The calm was worse than the screaming. The screaming I could categorize, the calm I couldn't. I left while he was still talking, drove back to my sister's, went straight to my room, and sat there trying to process what he had just said. Not screamed, said, conversationally, like a reasonable thing for a person to say to another person. That was the moment I stopped thinking of this as a painful situation I was navigating and started thinking of it as something I needed to get out of. I filed for divorce the following week. I had the locks changed and asked my building's front desk not to let him up without calling me first. I contacted a lawyer about a protective order and told her everything. The specific words, the tone, the calls, the years of him deciding things for both of us and waiting for me to comply. She took detailed notes. It was the first time in months I felt like I was doing something instead of just surviving something. I'm staying at my sister's for now. Most days are okay. Some aren't, but I'm out, and the locks are changed.